Councillor Crowther.
Present in chamber.
Councillor Curley.
Didn't work this one, sorry.
Councillor McCabe.
Present in chamber.
Councillor McCloskey. Councillor McCormick.
Present remotely.
Councillor Maguire.
Present.
Provost McKenzie.
In the chamber.
Councillor McVeigh.
Present remotely.
Councillor Reynolds.
She's still on holiday.
Councillor Roxon.
Present in chamber.
Councillor Wilson.
Present in the chamber.
Councillor McCloskey. Are there any declarations of interest?
Okay, thank you for that. I don't think I need to read this opening statement this fall. Welcome to this meeting of Inverclyde Council's Audit Committee. This meeting is being held remotely and also in person, and will be filmed and recorded for live and subsequent broadcasts available through the Council website. The Council is a data controller under the General Data Protection Regulations and the Data Protection Act 2018. We broadcast and record council meetings to fulfil our public task obligation to enable members of the public to observe this democratic process. Data collected during the process will be retained in accordance with council published policies available through the council website. Members of the council are reminded that they should follow the council's established meeting protocols, including those around the use of the chat facility, and the comments made in the chat facility are visible to all participants in the meeting, which may include members of the public who have also received invites to the meeting. Thank you. We move on to agenda item number 2, Internal Audit Progress Report. Andy.
Thanks, Chair. So this report sets out internal audit activity in the last progress update to the committee in April. There was one report finalised in relation to debt recovery. Overall control environment opinion was strong. There was one green issue identified, and action to address this issue will be undertaken by 31st of December this year. In relation to corporate fraud activity, the team continues to review matches received through the National Fraud Initiative and also responds to other referrals and whistleblowing inquiries that are received. In relation to internal audit action plans, there were 6 actions due for completion by the 30th of June, 4 of which have been reported as completed and 2 have missed their deadline set by management. These relate to the checking process for emissions reporting and the accreditation exercise in relation to cyber security. Revised dates have been set for both actions, and management commentary is given at Appendix 2, Section 4. The current status report is attached at Appendix 2. Happy to answer any questions. Thank you, Chair.
Colleagues, any questions? Councillor McCabe.
Thanks, Chair. A couple of questions. First one is regard to the debt recovery. It's good to see there's a strong audit opinion in that. It's always pleasing to get strong. I'm just going to be a bit nosy. It would be interesting to know what the green action was. And just second question relates to the sort of Appendix 1 where we're looking at the sort of audit coverage. And looking at the risk-based reviews, advisory reviews, seems to me that we're making good progress. So just ask, are you confident that you should be able to complete the audit programme in year?
Andy?
Through you, Chair. So the green issue was more, it's about a procedural matter, so that's underway just now with the team. In relation to the audit planning process, we've got a lot of work already underway, so that's what we've decided to do is sort of front load all the planning for the audits, because what we tend to find is sometimes there can be some protracted elapsed time when we're in certain difficult times in the year, for example year end, or just there are pinch points, so we're trying to front load a lot of the planning, which is why there's quite a lot of work started. But yeah, resources is stable in the audit team, and we're confident we should get that, we should complete the plan in year.
Okay.
Okay with that, Stephen?
Yeah.
Councillor Crowther?
Thank you, Convener. I just noticed in 3.5 of the audit plan and lists what is underway and the current status. I noticed of the total of 16 reports that 8 are not started. Would that be normal for this time of year?
Andy?
Right, thanks for your question, Councillor. Yes, in terms of the progress, to have about half of the audit plan still to start is perfectly reasonable at this time of year. We'll have another update to the Audit Committee in October, and that's when I do a sort of mid-year review of resources versus what's planned, and if there's any identified concerns regarding capacity, I would bring that to the October meeting of the Audit Committee.
Okay, that's fine, that's lovely, thank you.
Okay, John.
Yeah, fine.
Councillor Maguire, please.
Thank you, Councillor Wilson. I have two questions. My first one is on page 9, the 3-point table. I was just wondering, under advisory reviews, we've got the cashless catering replacement system, and it says audit advice and support will be provided for this project. I was just wondering, is there an indicative timescale when that will be completed? And my second question is around page 10, looking at 4.1, we've received 8,932 matches and we've investigated 1,300. How many more do you think we'll investigate by the end of the year? And is there a reason why a certain number possibly wouldn't be investigated, and do we know how many that is?
Andy?
Thanks, Chair, and thanks for your question, Councillor Maguire. In terms of the cashless catering, we're starting that piece of work at the moment. The education team are currently looking at the various options for the replacement system, and we've got an auditor who's actually attending the project board. So we've issued a terms of reference, and we've already started attending some of the project board meetings, and we'll continue to provide advice for as long as the evaluation exercise continues. How long that will be, I'm not sure, but I could give an update at the next audit committee in terms of the narrative, in terms of potential timescales, if that would be helpful, Councillor. And in relation to the National Fraud Initiative matches, this is an ongoing piece of work. We refresh the recheck matches for the single person discounts every May. So we've just had another release of those matches, which is why it's gone up to around 8,500 matches. The team will progress those as and when time allows. What we tend to do is focus on the matches are set out as high risk for fraud, medium risk for fraud, and low risk for fraud. So the team prioritise those matches where there's a higher risk of fraud to those particular matches, and that's where the priority has been focused just now, Councillor Maguire. And we're starting to, we're obviously seeing some good outcomes on those matches. Hopefully that gives you some assurance on the process. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much for that. I would appreciate hearing back about the cashless catering, and thank you for your answer to that one. I have one follow-up question just around that, because what you said makes perfect sense. This looks at just a single person discount. Do we look at other discounts that apply to council tax to investigate whether there's fraud or not? Or is it just purely the single person discount? It's just a bit of, I'm just kind of curious, if I'm honest.
Thanks for your question, Councillor Maguire. And yes, this particular match that we have is the data set is the council tax single person discounts. But we're also undertaking just a separate exercise on exemptions that have been applied, particularly where we've not received a grant of confirmation. So we're separately looking at that. We review that on an annual basis, and when we're out undertaking visits for single person discount matches, we'll also incorporate visits to those empty properties, just to see that the no grant of confirmation for council tax liability still applies. It's an ongoing piece of work, and it's a rolling annual programme, Councillor Maguire, so hopefully that gives you some reassurance that we do look at other types of discounts and exemptions as part of the fraud team's work.
That's great. Thank you for all your answers. Thanks for
Okay, Natasha. Councillor McVeigh, a question?
Thank you, Convener. Andy, on analysis of missed deadlines, I think previously I'd asked you if we could include a section in the commentary telling specifically why the deadline had been missed. Could you tell us where we are with that, please? And I've one other question, Convener, after this.
Andy?
Through you, Chair, thanks for your question, Councillor McVeigh. In terms of the format of the report as it stands, section 4 of the follow-up report does allow for management comments. We're moving the audit follow-up process onto Pentana, and there'll be an opportunity for a note to be added to the action where there is to be a revised deadline set, and that note could incorporate the reason for why the deadline wasn't achieved, and we can certainly write that into the procedures, which will then be rolled out to officers responsible for managing the actions. Hopefully that gives you some assurance on that process, Councillor McVeigh.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, thanks, Convener. One other question on, again, analysis of missed deadlines. The first item under homelessness, it's now missed 1, 2, 3, 4 deadlines. So I just wonder if somebody could tell me why.
Okay.
Thanks for your question, Councillor McVeigh. I did try to obtain an update on the particular item. I don't have that today, but I can endeavour to get an update on that action and report on that to the. Will certainly come to the October Audit Committee meeting, but I can endeavour to get an update to you separately after the meeting, if that would be okay.
Yeah. Well, I'm disappointed there was no one here to answer that question, because I would like to know, because I think 4 deadlines is obviously a concern, but I'm happy to take it offline, Andy, if you could get back to me. Thank you.
Could you let me know the outcome of that as well? Thank you. I don't see any more questions. Any more questions? Any more? Thank you for that. We'll move on to agenda item number 3, the external audit action plans, current actions. Andy.
Thanks, Chair. So this report is the regular progress report on the status of external audit action plans. There were 2 actions that were due for completion by the 30th of June, both of which have been reported as completed by management. There's 1 current action being progressed by officers. This is set out in Appendix 1, and there's officers from the relevant service, including finance, in attendance today, if there are any queries from members. Thank you, Chair.
Colleagues, any questions? I'm going to get it written for me. Councillor McGuire.
Yes, thank you. I only have one question. It's on page 27. Under section 3, I can see that the estimation judgment disclosure that the review wasn't carried out for that due to limited time and resource. Is there any impact of that not being carried out that we need to be made aware of? Just because I'm aware there was also a reason why we thought this should be reviewed and we haven't.
Andy? Yeah, answer.
Thank you, Dina. Yeah. I'm a wee bit confused as why that's not complete. It is actually being undertaken. We did do that in draft accounts. I think it's maybe just not been signed off with the auditors yet, maybe the issue, sorry.
Andy?
Apologies, Chair, and apologies, Councillor Maguire. It's a different way of setting out the report. The status column now shows a tick to show that that's actually been completed. So my apologies for not making that clear at the introduction of the report.
Okay, Natasha?
Yes, thank you. Thanks.
Well spotted. Any other questions? No, if that's the case, I'll bring the meeting to a conclusion. It took 14 minutes. We would have broken the record if it hadn't been the fact that Councillor McVeigh asked 2 questions. Thank you, everybody, for attending.
And apologies for being a wee bit late in my attendance as well. And my IT let me down.
Yeah,
or I let my.
That's your apology.
Your record change, I don't want to actually start with the meeting.